Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Lucore Automotive, the home of the 2500 road trip. You are currently underneath the Mercedes that did not make all 2500 of the 2500. It made about the first half. This is our nightmarish fuel pump assembly, which, if you have seen the video from both Tim and myself, ruined our happy road trip. So this is the JB Weld job. As you can see, it was done very professionally on the floor of a garage in Reliance, South Dakota. And unfortunately, despite all of the highly technical JB welding we did, it was still leaking. So we're going to pull a fuel pump assembly off and replace that with some brand new Bosch pumps, which are here, and that'll fix our issue. Also, we're going to put some pressure in these things and see exactly where that leak was coming from, just because we are morbidly curious as far as how badly we failed in locating the leak, and we're just curious. So yeah, time to get these hard lines off, which were a huge bear to try to do underneath the car, and disconnect all this stuff. Right now the fuel tank is actually empty, which is nice, because, you know, we don't take a bath this time. So time to get to work. Now you may notice it's going to be a little harder to remove this side because we did solidify this with JB Weld. Sorry about that. Well, after a couple of weeks of sitting outside slowly drip draining the fuel tank, we have successfully almost no fuel in this thing. As you saw, Derek got a little bit of a bath, a little bit of a taste of what I was dealing with. Now we have a small problem with the fact that we JB welded the hell out of this thing. So now we gotta JB weld it. So here's our fuel pump that failed. All of our extremely technically applied JB welding could not save this fuel pump. But for my own morbid curiosity, I am going to put some fluid in this thing and see if I can figure out exactly where this thing was leaking from. Because as you guys saw in the video, which if you haven't seen, I highly suggest it. It's very painful to watch and remember. I had a lot of very terrible experiences underneath this car, but it wouldn't hold up. So I'm gonna put some fluid in this thing and we'll see if we can actually find out where this leak came from. In the meantime, I'm gonna hang some new fuel pumps. Well, after filling the pump with water, does not seem to be leaking anywhere. So that doesn't give us any answer as to what happened here. We could probably get this JB Weld off and see what's going on, but we know this thing leaked actively all the way from South Dakota back to Ohio, and then leaked in our front yard for a while as it emptied the fuel tank. What we want to make sure here is that we're not just replacing the fuel pumps and still having a fuel leak issue because a hard line cracked, because that would make things considerably worse. But as of right now, doesn't seem to be leaking. Maybe we fixed it. Well, would you looky there. Drip, drip, drip. So the answer is it's leaking from somewhere in there. there's a good chance I'm going to get rid of this JB Weld to figure out where it is. It looks to me like we are probably correct in our assumptions. It's coming around from around where the electrical post on the pump is, which is annoying, but whatever. Now she's leaking, so now we know this is our problem, and it wasn't a hard line, which makes things a lot easier and I'm less scared. So Derek is over here working hard, putting wiring back together again so we can get these new pumps on here and get this bad mamma jamma fired up again in time for the Motor Vice show, which is coming up here very quickly next week. And this 90s Teutonic hot rod will definitely be there. Well, this is gonna be kind of hard to film, but here's what we're gonna do. Fuel pump full of water.
Liar.
Doesn't do anything right now.
Liar.
Shut up, Richard. As you can see, we now have water. And it seems to be coming out from around the edge where we initially thought it was. So, whatever. It is what it is. Tim, here's your $1,200-ish, $60 fuel pump. Well, previously, whenever we would have any fuel whatsoever in this tank, it would start leaking out of the end of this pump. And as you can see, I'm standing underneath said pump, and it is not dripping fuel in my hair, which is a good change. All right, here we go.
Like I 100% have. Why? Usually this era mechanical had an in-tank pump. It was like a low pressure just to get it like out of there.
So, I think we are ready for step 2, which is going to be firing this thing up. So here we go. All right, Mercedes. Is it?
Not fixed yet.
Not fixed yet. Just the fuel pumps didn't fix the problem. But we know that the fuel pump was part of the problem. Third time's the charm. Haha! There you go. All fixed. Ready for another 2,500 mile journey. Maybe not. Anyway, another one fixed here at Lucore Automotive. As always, hope you enjoyed this journey with us. Hopefully you watched our long road trip special as well, and you saw what exactly we went through to get this Mercedes back here. As always, like, comment, click that subscribe button so you can see more of the craziness and the normal stuff we do on a daily basis. We'll see you next time.